Welcome everybody. While you're coming in, if you wouldn't mind filling out our icebreaker, how familiar are you with Cami? A 0, you've never heard of it or never used it. 3, you've learned it a little bit, you've used it a little bit, but want to learn a little bit more. And 5, you use it all the time. And again, these aren't the only numbers that you have to use. If you feel like maybe you're a 1 or a 2 or a 4, please feel free to put those numbers in the chat. You don't just have to use a 0, 3, or 5. All right, so it looks like I'm seeing a couple zeros. 1, a 2, a couple 3s. Excellent. So for those of you that have put in a 0, this is the perfect spot for you to start at, because we're going to give you a little bit of the basics of Cami, show you how to use it, and then give you a little bit of practice time. So you'll be able to see what it looks like from the teacher view as well as the student view, which I know we always want to see as teachers. We always want to know what the student view looks like also. If you would like a copy of the presentation, it is in the chat, so you can go ahead and click on that link. I will copy and paste it and put it in there again so that it's fresh in our chat. So if you want to go ahead and open that up, and then feel free to save the presentation for your records. There are some videos that we've linked in there. Some of them we're going to watch today, but there are some other videos on the resource page, which is toward the end of the presentation, that we won't be showing those videos today, but we wanted to make sure that you have them for reference when you decide you would like to use Cami. So welcome. Today we are learning how to use Cami for an interactive learning experience in your early elementary classroom. Without further ado, let's meet your presenters. I am Kim Differding. I am a first grade monolingual teacher at Crosby. I have been AVID trained, and I am also the AVID site team leader at Crosby.
And I am Kelly Ringel, instructional coach, and I am also AVID trained. So welcome.
So today our essential questions and objectives are: what is Cami? How do I use Cami? And how can I use Cami in my classroom? So are you wondering what Cami is? The answer to our first essential question lies on this slide. Cami is a digital classroom app that you have access to on your computer. Our district has the paid version of the app, which allows you to annotate and collaborate on documents interactively. So just a little background about what Cami is. As far as using Cami, it's very simple to access. All you have to do is look in the upper right corner of your district device and click the blue icon with the white K in it. Once you click on the icon, you are able to choose a document from your Google Drive or from your computer that you would like to annotate. If you're feeling creative, you can choose to open a new blank page. And if you decide on this option, you can choose how many pages, as well as the page type, which include a blank page, a lined page, a grid page, and a music sheet. So lots of different options.
Are you wondering what Cami can do for you? Here are the tools Cami has to offer. You can highlight, underline, and strike through text in a PDF or other document formats. You can also add text boxes, shapes, and images. As we watch this quick video, think about which tools may be helpful to you as you create assignments for your students. I'm going to briefly talk about some of the tools Cami has to offer. Text-to-speech allows your students to highlight the text and it will read it to them.
And wants a pet. Her mom takes her to the pet shop. She sees a fish.
The markup tool allows your students to highlight and underline words. box can be used to add extra directions on an assignment or for your students to answer a question. With the Shape tool, you can insert shapes. It could be used to circle answers. The eraser allows students to erase their mistakes. Add Media allows you to insert photos from your computer, Google Drive, or an image search. So I can insert the picture of the dog to go along with my answer. You also have the option of adding stickers to the document. One of my favorite tools is the Comment tool. You can add comments by text, voice, video comment, or you can capture your whole screen. You can add text comments. You can do this by speaking into the microphone. My favorite pet is a dog. Or a voice comment can be added to the document. You can use this as a teacher to give students directions on an assignment, or a student can use this to record their answer. My favorite pet is a dog. My favorite pet is a dog. You can also leave video comments for your student, and your students can leave you video comments as well. Use text-to-speech to listen to the story, read the story on your own, and then answer the questions after the story. Use text-to-speech to listen. You also have the option of recording your whole screen. This may be helpful when trying to explain an assignment, especially if students are completing this asynchronously.
So I want you to think about all of the tools that Cami has to offer. Which one out of the plethora of options that they gave us, which one do you think is the most helpful? And go ahead and put your answer in the chat for us. I think especially with the younger grades, I think the comment feature would definitely be something that teachers could utilize a lot. So if you just want to put your answers in the chat, that would be great. We would love to see what tools you think would be the most helpful. And I'm seeing a lot of the voice, the commenting, the text-to-speech. The students being able to leave comments, absolutely. I think those are all very important. And again, can be used at all grade levels with all skill types. So thank you for putting your answers in the chat for us.
So if you decide you want to create an assignment and have your students have access to the Cami toolbar, you will go to Google Classroom like normal, click on Create Cami Assignment. You can also use feature restrictions to limit which tools students have access to. This quick video shows how to easily create an assignment and restrict the tools your students can see. When you create an assignment in Google Classroom and you want your students to use Cami to complete the assignment, you click on Create Cami Assignment. You're going to give your assignment a title as usual. And you're going to attach your assignment. If you notice, it makes a copy for each student. And then you can click on Feature Restrictions. These are all the tools available to your student in Cami, but you might not want all the tools visible for your student. So you click on All Off. So for this assignment, I like my students to have access to text-to-speech, I want them to have access to the markup tool, but only the highlighter. And I want them to have access to the eraser, and they can erase all annotations. So I click on OK, and then I click on Assign. And then if I go in as a student, and I go into my assignment, here's my practice assignment. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on Open with Cami. And if you notice, only text-to-speech, the markup tool, and the eraser are available for my student.
So I think the feature restriction is a really great way to have students work in Cami without feeling completely overwhelmed with all of the tool options. When I first started having my students complete Cami assignments, that's exactly what I did. I went in and only gave them a choice of using a couple of the tools. I used text-to-speech and then either the shape tool or the text box tool, so that all of the options weren't available to them.
The split and merge tool in Cami allows you to easily combine separate files, delete pages, and split documents into separate files. This may be helpful if you want your students' assignments all in one place. For example, you can combine a reading assignment with a math assignment, so that way your students will only have one place to go in the Google Classroom when completing the assignment. We have step-by-step directions here, and we have also added a link to this short video on how to use the split and merge tool. As we watch this short video, think about how this feature of Cami could be helpful to you.
Cami's Split and Merge tool can be found on the home page or at the bottom of the menu, which is in the top right-hand corner of the screen. You can select multiple files from Google Drive or locally. The Split and Merge tool allows for you to customize PDFs in a variety of ways, including combining PDFs, reorganizing pages within PDFs, deleting pages, and more. When you're finished, you can download the file locally, download it into Google Drive, or open the file into Cami.
So in my opinion, this is an extremely useful feature as a teacher. You can use it to break up PDFs for classroom or professional use. For example, if you have a larger PDF and you only want someone to focus on a few pages, instead of sending the entire PDF, you can split the pages and only send the specific pages you would like the recipient to look at. As Kelly stated previously, it's also a great way to merge specific pages from different PDF documents together.
So now we're going to share some examples. I wanted to show you an example of how you can use video comment and the capture screen tools. In this example, I created a video comment with the directions for the assignment. This could be helpful for students who are unable to read the directions on their own. Hello, boys and girls. Today I want you to use text-to-speech to listen to the story, read the story on your own, and then answer the questions. The screen capture tool, which is this one, allows you to record your screen as well as a video of yourself. You could use this tool to record directions, read a story while pointing to the words, or remind students how to use the Cami tools, especially if you are completing this work as homework or during asynchronous time. I'm going to show you 2 short videos demonstrating this. Hello, I'm going to read the story to you, and then I want you to read the story on your own. Anne wants a pet. Her mom takes her to the pet shop. She sees a fish. Next. So in that example, I'm pointing to the words and reading the story to them. In the second example, I'm going to show them how to use the Cami tools. I want you to go over to the Shapes tool, select the circle, and then I want you to use the circle to circle the correct answer. If you make a mistake, you can click on the eraser to erase.
So those were, Kelly was highlighting a few of the features there, and then these are just some examples of how I've used Cami in my classroom. This first example that you see with the thumbs up, thumbs in the middle, and thumbs down, that was an exit ticket for telling time. So my students had access to the text-to-speech, the circle shape, and the eraser options. And this was just, like I said, a quick exit ticket. I was just asking them to rate how they felt about telling time. The second example, the concept of time, is a document that I manipulated as the teacher. So we went through, my students were telling me the answers, and I modeled how to use the shape tool. So this example was done previous to the other assignment where the students were manipulating the document independently. The next example that we have is of a Reading A to Z book. So I took the PDF from Reading A to Z and just opened it in Cami. Very, very easy. This does only work though for the books that are in this side-by-side format. The books that have the page one on top of the other, like in this example with Go Dogs Go, it will not work because as you can see, that bottom page, the text is upside down. So what you can do, and this is what I did in the next example of the story, is that you can take screenshots and then upload them into Google Slides. So if you wanted just one page at a time, you can screenshot, or I used the snipping tool, and then I uploaded it as a background into my Google Slides, and then opened up the Google Slide presentation in Cami. So it does take a little bit more work. It's a few more steps, but really once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple and it goes really quick. Then our next example is of would be an example of a 2-column notes, which is also one of our wicker strategies. So this is an idea that, or my students and I came up with ideas for digraphs. So we're working on SH and CH. So in this document, this was just a Google Doc that I uploaded I opened in Cami, and the students came up with the pictures. And so again, I was modeling how to insert a picture as well as insert a text box to type the answers. And then the last example is of an anticipation guide, which is another wicker strategy. Students would fill out the before reading column, and so they could use the circle tool or use the highlighting tool to show their answer, and then you would read the story, and then the students would fill out the after reading column. So just a few examples of different ways that you can use Cami in your own classroom.
Are you wondering if it's easy for your students to access a Cami assignment? Your students will access a Cami assignment in Google Classroom the same way they access all other assignments. They will go to their classwork tab, select their assignment. Once the assignment opens, they will need to click on the blue Open with Cami button. Remember, they will only have access to the tools in Cami that you selected when you created the assignment. The first time your students access Cami, there will be a few additional steps. They will be asked to allow Cami to have access to their Google Classroom. If you are interested in using Cami in Google Classroom with your students, we have added a resource slide that we'll be sharing with you later in the presentation. This way, when you are ready to send a Cami assignment to your students, you can watch the video at your convenience. In order for you to understand what Cami has to offer, we are going to give you a chance to practice as we go through the rest of the presentation. Please follow the steps on the screen to access our Cami practice assignment and do the practice assignment. We will also put the Google Classroom join link in the chat so you can easily join the Cami practice Google Classroom. So we're going to give you a few minutes to do that.
And you should see the link to the Google Classroom in the chat. If you are working on a Chromebook, just know that you will have to copy and paste the link into a new tab on your computer.
We actually on Chromebooks are able to click it now. I was just able to.
You are excellent. Thank you for letting us know, Christy. I did not realize that.
Yeah, it now comes up with the blue, so like that it's a hyperlink. I just noticed that today.
Wonderful. That's great. So, and like we were saying previously at the beginning of our presentation, we will, before our session ends, we will make sure to, again, put the link to the presentation in the chat so that you guys can take this. You'll have all of the videos that Kelly has shown during the presentation, as well as there are a few extra videos on the resources slides, so that when you're ready to use this with your students, or to just start, kind of becoming acclimated with it a little bit more, you will have all of those videos right at your fingertips to help you when you are starting out.
So as you're practicing, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We'd be happy to answer them for you.
Yes, and it looks like we have about 3 minutes or so until we're going to wrap up our presentation. We want to make sure that you guys have a couple minutes. If you're moving on to another presentation, we want to make sure to give you a few minutes to get there so that you don't have to enter that presentation late.
And please email us if you want to try the Cami tools or an assignment with the Cami tools. We're happy to help you with it.
Yes, absolutely. I know I've just recently started using Cami a little bit more with my class. So that's kind of when I found out the first time you have your class complete a Cami assignment from Google Classroom, there are those couple extra steps that you have to go through where it's going to ask the students to allow Cami access to Google Classroom. So that was one thing that was kind of a surprise for me, because when I tried it as a student, it didn't ask me that. So thankfully I was on Zoom with a couple of my students and they were like, "Oh, Ms. Differding, we're not really sure what to do." So I was able to kind of walk them through step by step. But that should be the only time that they should have to allow that access after the first time. So it's a couple extra steps the first time, but then after that, kind of like with most websites, once you put in your information, you usually don't have to do it again. We are going to end our presentation. So again, the link to the presentation is in the chat if you want to go ahead and make sure you grab that before you leave, so that, again, you will have access to all of those resources and all of the links. You can see all of the different examples that we shared. And like we said plenty of times, if you have any questions, please reach out to either one of us. We would be more than happy to help in any way we can. Well, at this time, it looks like it is 12:31, so we are going to officially end our presentation for the day. We just want to thank you again very much for coming and attending our presentation, and we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Thank you again.
Thanks, everyone.